Thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring this video and providing two brand new pulleys. These are pulleys for the Melty Brain, basically because the old version just wasn't going to give us enough bite. Let's take a look at that.
Hello everybody, I am Ben from Team Panic.
This here is basically where we ended the last version or last build of the Melty Brain. Or not quite, it had a backplate on it, but I've since removed that because it was too thin, and I've got my CNC machine working again now, so we will, in this video, do 10mm thick plates for this machine front and back so that it is very, very rigid and also will survive its own hits and also everybody else's hits. But let's take a look at these pulleys. So these pulleys are the ones that I just showed you in the intro there. They are considerably smaller than the ones that we have on here right now, which basically means that I can have more tooth depth for the same diameter weapon, which is going to be perfect. Because looking at these, I was kind of a little worried that they weren't going to engage properly because they've got such a shallow tooth depth on them. And yes, we are giving them a load more bite by spinning at a very, very high speed, but that's only going to give us so much bite, and giving a little bit more tooth depth on here is going to help a lot, I think. So let's make a move on this. To start with, I actually want to pull these weapon motors, these drive motors back out again, because while we do have these new front plates, or these new plates to go on here and get all in place, I've realized that these connectors are going to be a problem. They need to go in here past this middle wall and into the main section, and at the moment they're just a little bit too short. So I want to extend these on both motors so that they make it into the middle section comfortably. That way I can zip tie them down in here and have way less of a chance of them actually touching the motor or the wheel, because that would be a problem. I also want to redo these middle panels. We did have those in last time. I've taken them out, but I'm redoing them to give some more clearance around the wheels, just because these are a little bit close right now. Okay, so here is all of our new CNC'd parts, including these, which have got a nice recess in them so that the wheels basically shouldn't touch anymore. I might need to clear it a little bit by hand just with a file, but there should be a couple of mils space in there. So, and these are going to sit out anyway, which means that everything should be fine. I also cut new versions of these end plates that are from 10mm. However, my CNC isn't trammed quite properly, so I think the thicknesses between these two are different, which is obviously a problem. This whole thing needs to be as symmetrical as possible to get the Melty Brain to spin effectively. So the fact that even just by eye, I can kind of tell that this one is thicker than this one is a big problem. And I might end up not using these at all and just sticking with the old versions of these. Now, I'm also going to pull apart these little blocks, because these little blocks, while very good, do have a slight problem with them. That is that these base plates aren't exactly flat. Now, I'm not sure if this is ever going to pick up on camera because it's very, very subtle, but this motor is not perfectly straight. It's slightly angled that way, and I think it's because there are heat insert nuts in underneath the motor, and I have a feeling that they are just interfering. So I'm going to pull this whole thing down and just flatten both of these, because it is a problem on both of these, and it's actually going in the same way, which is fine. But when everything is so tight and I'm going to have a plate really close to the front of these, I want them to be as straight as possible here. And then we can get on to actually improving things and putting in the new weapons and stuff. I've also gone away and cut by hand some motor mounting plates. These are the brushless motor mounting plates, which have a cool little feature in them that we'll get onto later, but they sit in here and allow the brushless motor to sit where it needs to sit to spin up the weapon, which is going to be really, really cool. So I don't actually think it is the heat insert nuts. These are a little raised, but not too bad. It's actually, I think, these wood screws which are holding on this cross brace, which hold everything together up the front here, that I think are doing the issue. So I'm going to countersink these a little bit, and I will also just very quickly hit all of this with a file just to kind of bring this down flat again, because there is just there's enough to stop the motion of a screwdriver across the surface there, especially here. That's way too much. We definitely need to do something about those.
All right, we are starting to get somewhere. We've got all of our parts ready to go. I have Loctite in all of the motors and everything. So it's a case of starting to assemble now, and I'm going to kind of go very slowly with this. I do want to do all of my wiring management early on this, just to kind of make sure that I can get everything where I want it to go. I'm actually going to use cable ties for their intended purpose, which is a weird feeling, to be honest. I don't do that a lot. I don't think anybody in combat robots does that a lot, to be perfectly honest. Cable ties are used for all sorts of things, but very rarely are they used for actually tying cables. So it feels interesting to do, but here we go. So this cable tie, that is going to be... I might want to change that. In fact, I do want to change that. The problem is there's not a whole lot of space in under here to get cable ties in and the like, which does make life a little bit difficult, especially with the fact that these have now got a little splice in them, and that little splice sits right where the wheel is supposed to be. I'm not sure if that's showing up on camera, but that means the thick point of the splice is literally right where I want these cables to go, which is not going to help with the whole needing to cable tie them in place thing. These aren't going to allow the cable to fit if we need them to fit there. And because they've already been cut, I can't really cut. I might be able to cut a little bit of a recess channel in here to let the cables in. Don't know. This is a problem. It's kind of part of the reason that I hadn't been running wires next to wheels already, because it is just somewhat challenging to do. Okay, well, I don't know if this is anything. Rather than having the cable tie loop through two different holes, I'm looping it through the same hole and just kind of looping it around on the wire, and we're going to see if this works. I kind of have doubts about it because I've never seen somebody do this before, and there's probably a reason for that. And the cable tie, I think, is back to front, which is not fun because I now need to undo this. Kind of is the answer to this question. I mean, I do think that when we put the wall back on, the wall is going to push everything into places I don't want it. All right, let's try actually cinching this cable tie shut, which is going to mean forcing a bunch of it back through. And I might need to do this from the other side because I don't know that I've got enough space for this cable tie end to be out here. Okay, all right, I'm getting there. Slowly but surely we're getting there. Okay, we are rocking and rolling now. I've got it. So these outside edges have tabs in them with little holes in them. I am now using those spaces to throw a cable tie around. It will mean I'll need to slim down a couple of these tabs a little bit. I'll probably just hit them with a Dremel just to get these thinner, but it does actually work. So if we put everything back together again, I mean, these don't go in all the way at the moment because there's a cable tie in the road, but we are now good. Nothing hits, nothing touches. It all spins freely. Yes. Okay, so we're doing this on the other side and then shaving down these tabs so everything fits, because that is a problem at the moment. It doesn't actually fit, but that's fine. We can do that. We can even just cut those tabs off, actually. Just the two tabs. Progress is being made. We are getting there now. This is actually coming together somewhat. So we have a lot of stuff done, actually. The sidewalls and everything are now screwed in place. You can't really glue HDPE, and I really wouldn't want to glue this chassis together anyway. And I've got the top plates on. We're about to go through and screw these in as well, because that is kind of the next step here. Yeah, and then once that's done, we can actually get back to the motors. Now, these motors have come off for the moment because I needed to chamfer one side or chamfer both sides to make sure things worked and cleared the wiring mess that we've got going on. And also I needed to put in a little spacer because they needed to sit between here, and the actual plate itself was too thin and just made life a little bit chaotic and confusing and annoying to get it all set up and sorted. So we are going to do a couple of these on camera because it's actually quite a simple process. I mean, the ones into the 10 mil are really simple and easy. The ones outside the 10 mil are a little bit scary because of the way I'm doing this. I probably could do this a better way, but for now, what I'm doing is working. And also, I need to have everything together, and I need to have like motors and wires and stuff in to actually get the drill locations correct. So yes, I'm drilling. I've got a tiny little drill bit in my drill here. I have eye protection on because you should always have eye protection when you're drilling. And I just drill a hole roughly into the outer wall here. Again, the 10 mil stuff is a lot better than the 6 mil stuff, which I'll do in half a second here. So we drill through the pair of those, clean out any gump from around it. Again, we'll do the 6 mil, which I need to be more accurate and precise on somehow. And also not drill as far because there's a lot of things in this 6 mil already. So we don't want to hit another screw or a mounting plate or something. I'll also do this outside one or screw them down when I find my screwdriver. So we'll get some of these in here. The trick to this really is to drill slightly smaller holes than the length of the screw you're putting in, which, yeah, I get it occasionally. I am doing this very haphazardly, which I probably shouldn't be, considering that this thing needs to be able to be balanced and spin at high speed, but I feel like the location of everything inside is going to have more of an impact on the balance than a couple of small screws around the outside, so we should be okay, I think. But yeah, I now need to do this on the other side as well and collect that screw back again. There it is. And once we've done that, we can put the weapons on. Okay, so I've transplanted the electronics out of TBH into the new melty, and we need to look at weight because now it is time to work out just what we're going to do about the weapon situation, because I have a couple of different options. So we need to work out where we're sitting so I can decide how heavy I can go with the weapon teeth. So here we go. We're at 900 grams, easy. All right, so we also need to put on, okay, so those weigh basically nothing. Let's put on the big chunky boys. Let's put them at the back here. 111, perfect. All right, well, we're gonna run the big chunky boys then because we've definitely got weight for that. Sure, we're gonna need a couple of bolts to hold everything together, but bolts are not gonna weigh 100 and something grams. So that is really good. We're going to put on the thick weapons. All right, well, I'm going to try something out here because we could be in a lot of trouble at the moment. But maybe mounting everything correctly will fix the issue I'm seeing. I really, really hope so, because otherwise I am very, very stuck and we may have to go back to TBH. Now, the trick here that I wanted to show you was I built in these little like aluminium plates in here that hold onto the motor so that I can do this, push them over get the belt on and then push them back again and put a bolt in to hold them in place, which they're not quite at the moment. This is hard to do not facing me, but I do kind of want to show it to you. Is that where it's supposed to go? I think so. And if I tighten this down, I think this might even be too long a bolt. That's right, it should be fine. There we go. So that tightened down, now tightens the belt up, which, oh, that might even be a little bit too tight. The pulley needs to be reprinted, and the printer is currently doing that. But the issue that I was facing was that, yeah, the weapon hits the ground, and it shouldn't. And it's like a couple of mil even. I don't know if it's these actual weapons or if it's just that the placement of this is wrong. I don't really know. Oh, it could be these thick weapons. I don't know. I really, really don't know. Actually, the easiest way to tell probably is to put on the old weapons and see if the old weapons do it as well. Because if these weapons do it too, then we just have a problem with height. Ah, that's not good. That's really, really not good. Oh no, I don't know what to do about that. Something has gone wrong. How? These are the same wheels and same weapons as I've run on the vert melty before. They should have the same clearance to the ground that they did last time round. I'm so confused. Ha ha ha! I've got it! Okay, so once again, Milk Jug saves the day. I've literally got a tiny little piece of Milk Jug and I have used it to angle the standoff up. And look at this! It doesn't hit the ground anymore, which is great. I mean, it's really not far off hitting the ground. Like I can push it down with one hand and have it hit the ground, but that's close enough for now, and as long as our other weapons work as well, we are going to call this good and move on. Yeah, okay, so I can hit the ground if I like rock sideways, but that's good enough. That is very, very close to the ground. I might even just sand this tooth a little bit, but yes, a tiny little piece of Milk Jug was all I needed. So I'm gonna make a couple more of those. I actually might even shim this one up just a little bit further, maybe even just one extra layer of Milk Jug to get that to work. And then that'll be it. Damn, that is a little bit scary. Those new weapons spin up ridiculously fast. I think that is because those motors are bigger and faster than the motors we were running on the old version, the one with the steel frame in it. And also the gearing has had to change because I didn't have time to get new belts in the system, so I just used the old ones, which meant that because I shrunk the size of the big pulley, I had to grow the size of the small pulley to make up the same space. And in actual fact, it turned out that the weapons now spin faster than the motor spins, and that is ridiculously fast when you're talking about tiny little brushless motors like that. So that test you just saw, we only got like 25% stick and then, 10% stick and then 25% stick. That last spin up was about 25%, so they're going to go ridiculously quickly, and that is going to be something. I don't know. It's kind of scary. Hopefully the melty can still melty with that much gyro force at either end. We'll find out. Next week's video is going to be the Melty's fight report at Robot Havoc for this year. So if you want to see the Melty fight, stick around, subscribe to the channel, and like I said, that should be out next week. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.